What is good, Fight fans? Fight Night 23. I am your host, Cyrus the Looney, as always. Joining me in the comments booth is going to be Doctor Who, or Doctor the Savage, as he's more recently known. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. We have got a stacked card tonight. We've got the main event of Mist versus Satchmo. Both of them are notorious for their striking capability. Satch has got the grappling. We've seen a bit of Mist is grappling as well. Moving on from that, you've got the co-main, in which Magical Clouds, one of his main features on his resume has been that 10-second knockout with Conor McGregor. Dixie, if I remember correctly, got it on the last fight now, in which you just came out and decimated some poor soul. So it's going to be a fantastic fight. I'm really looking forward to that one. What about you, Looney?
Yeah, for sure, man. Of course, we've got one of the standouts for myself personally, FSK Tadpole up against BSD Big E. Both guys really action-packed fighters. Can't wait to see those two throw down. Of course, right next to that, Kevin P, FSK for the Vibes Ricardo, another FSK boy coming through. Honestly, top to bottom, I just expect non-stop action. It's the primetime guarantee. Never fails to disappoint in every single one of these fights. And leading us into one of the first ones over there, Doc, we have TFA, one of the recently formed camps. AJS has kind of gone into two camps, I do believe, and Boss Ross, one of the main guys. Obviously, one of the head honchos over in VFL. Very well versed in the game. Got a very creative calf, and he's going to be taking on Uzumaki, if I'm saying that name right over there, Doc. And
I think so, but I think this may have been just an accidental correction on the graphic here. It's, I believe, Master Uzi. They're two different opponents. We will later see Uzumaki against Matty D later on in the prelims. This shown, it's just a slight exclamation mark on the back end for us. That's sometimes the way it goes.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. These things happen. We're going to get straight into this one. As expected, I am seeing Boss Ross, David Ross, picking his favorite calf. I think he went the showboat calf there, which fits in perfectly with his style. He likes to throw high variance kicks. He's really unorthodox with his striking, like a lot of those AJS boys were previously, and of course now the TFA boys. I expect, being I think the first fight for that camp, he's going to want to come out here and do it in a in a large way. Want to get a good win for the camp to start them off in this season, and with the newly formed teammates that he has. And with an action-packed way, he often goes for, like I said, those big flashy kicks to the head that can catch his opponent slipping. But Volkanovski's a tough man to put out to their Doc. He's got one hell of a chin, and depending on how Master Uzi wants to approach this fight, this could be a tough one for the calf pick.
Yeah, well, calf picks normally are only focused on one specific style, either kickboxing or the grappling department. Volkanovski, on the other hand, as we've seen even with IRL, he's very much a mixture of all round, can survive a lot of subs. That being said, though, in game, he's got good leg kicks, good health stats, good cardio, and just killer hands, which, if you stay in the pocket too long, especially with how short he is, you can normally get them off a lot quicker than your opponent can.
Yeah, for sure. He's doing a great job right now of maintaining the distance to a certain degree, but there it is again, the kicks into the knee. Boss Ross, I said it, man. He has got some flashy finishes on his highlight reel, and that is one hell of a way to start it out for himself in this season. The TFA boys are going to be very proud of that performance, and I know Boss Ross is going to be partying hard a little bit later on, Doug.
Indeed. Getting such a quick KO is exactly how you want to start off this card. As I think you mentioned, it's your prime time guarantee. You're going to make sure they're going to end up on the floor, and someone's going to be injured by the end of it.
Honestly, that was impressive. The spin kick, you've seen him land that a couple of times, but just to have the intuition to follow it up with the knee as his opponent tries to duck a big shot, expecting obviously something to come over the top, maybe a haymaker or a hook of some sort, but straight in. Does he lean to the knee? That's a tough one. Like I said, Volkanovski's not an easy man to put out of the cage as well. So, I mean, all props to AJS TFA Boss Ross, apologies, for that killer instinct to close out the show nice and early. Like I said, a great way to start out the card, brother, and it takes us straight on to the next one, which is going to be LW Yeezus up against Heavy Hands. Now, Heavy Hands, obviously seen him fight a few times in the past. That man definitely does have incredibly heavy hands on UFC 4. Likes to push the action, likes to get his opponents out there nice and quickly if he can. And obviously the Yeezus gentleman, I think he's a more recent addition to LW, if I'm not mistaken, over there, Dog. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe he may be a more recent addition, but LW has a lot of good names. You have Webcam, such a very good striker. You my mind's gone blank with LW members, but that's a bit of an issue. I think Yeezus, on the other hand, he's predominantly a grappler in most cases, so it's definitely going to be an interesting fight to watch to see how he does and reacts. both of them have gone Poirier. It's a very interesting pick. Again, as I mentioned with the Volkanovski pick, is
Yeah, no, for sure.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like I said, with the Dustin Poirier mirror matches, we've seen it a lot in this weight class. It really does kind of determine who's going to be the better player. We're seeing a little bit more of a reserved approach out of the blue corner here. He's doing a good job of just taking his time. Heavy Hands locked for that teep at a perfect opportunity. He was able to get his opponent down for just a moment. Not a rock, but it can be a little bit demoralizing. And I think it also attacks the stamina as well. Every time you get like knocked on your butt, whether it be a slip or whatever, it takes a little bit away from that stamina pool, which can add up nice and quickly. They are taking a very measured approach so far. Nice hooks being landed by LW Jesus. He's both guys just being very, very calm in their approach, trying to make sure that they maximize their strikes and obviously not trying to miss on too much, at least touching the block, touching the block every time they throw.
Well, within the first round, it's very much a feeling out process. You're just looking to poke, prod, see how someone reacts to a feint, to a jab, and that's exactly what you want to be doing. Even a takedown can sometimes do it. You go for about 2-minute marks, shoot a takedown, see how your person reacts. Even if you do end up being on the receiving end of the bad takedown, you can still sometimes get a very much effective off. Both of them are using that jab and just, again, prodding at one another. It's exactly what you do over the course of the first round.
Yeah, that was a nice uppercut being landed, timed very nicely. Seemed that Jesus was going to the body quite often, so Heavy Hands looking for that nicely timed counter. Didn't get quite the desired result out of it, but obviously that chips up. And honestly, I have to say though, even though he's going to it a lot, and obviously Heavy Hands is trying to get the adjustment with the uppercuts, the knees, etc., the body work from Jesus is fantastic right now, and if he continues to dig to it, it's going to really set up his opportunities to the head. Obviously his opponent's going to be dropping those hands, trying to dissuade him a little bit from throwing it, and there it is right there. Goes for the straight to the body into the lead head kick. Absolutely beautiful work. Still though, both guys just staying very, very composed in these situations, not really letting anything that's coming their way, whether it be successes or kind of consequences to their strike, just instantly recomposing, resetting, and looking to work their game, chipping away at each other.
Yeah, indeed. It has been kind of a tug-and-war battle. One person comes forward, the other backs off, and then it's just that back-and-forth play constantly. Just poking, looking for that big counter. A couple kicks have been thrown that seem to land. They have landed successfully. Maybe we'll see a few more, but I honestly doubt it, since both of them are just mainly focusing on this boxing, which Poirier does have in spades, to be fair. Yeah,
really, really heavy hands. We've said it so many times, but the power translates no matter how tired he is as well, so you can really get it going. And with the attack of Jesus, he's just going to be the fresher of the two fighters if he continues to attack the body. But with saying that, it's very, very equal at this stage. You'd think he'd have a little bit more of a stamina advantage considering the amount of body work he's been able to put out there, but looks like Heavy Hands must have just been perfectly timing those counters himself and able to evade just enough shots to try and equalize out that stamina heading into round two.
Well, bodywork doesn't necessarily mean a stamina advantage. In a lot of cases, if your bodywork is ill-timed or isn't when your opponent has low stamina, a lot of time it doesn't do as much effective damage as it could have done. So a lot of time you're just looking to sneak shots in after someone has disengaged from you.
Nice lead hook by Jesus. Now trying to follow up some nice combinations, finishing with that head kick. Not able to get him out of there. Obviously, it's a great moment, though, to start out round two. Got to be very confidence building, and Heavy Hands trying to push it. The action, though, trying to get that damage back, trying to equalize it out in the eyes of the judges, maybe even close the fight out. Often when you get injured in a fight, Doc, it sets up some big opportunities for you to get your opponent countered. We've seen it time and time again.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the big opportunities, the big counters, those are the mainstay of the fights. You can be losing the fight, you can be down but not out, and you can come back and make and dig deep and find that big counter, which then leads to the KO. Even if you're down 2 rounds, you can still come back with a big counter, as you said, and just change the game entirely.
Yeah, he's looking for it. He's been slipping off that center line as he tries to close the distance, has had success with it a number of times, as though Jesus trying to recognize that, now going with a little bit more looping shots, attacking with the hooks, uppercuts, and the such, trying to take away that head movement and make him a little bit more of a sit and duck. That lean off attack to the body that he continues to go to. A lot of success with that, and it's doing fantastic work to the stamina, making sure that they stay very, very much in the fight, no matter how much they're putting out there, because they're really starting to turn up the heat over here, Doc. They're not wasting any time. The combinations starting to flow, taking more risks, and that can often lead to the fight being over one way or the other. Although that was a beautiful combination, once again mixing it to the body for Jesus.
Indeed, he's playing a very steady approach. He's coming on this. He's playing off the back foot, but then every time Heavy Hands is allowing him the opportunity, he's coming forward, sneaking shots in, and then working through that block. That jab, rear hook are just working fantastically in his favor.
Really liking the aggression out of Heavy Hands. Once again, trying to push it, but he walks onto a slip-off straight from Yeezus, trying to attack the body. A little bit of bobblehead in from Heavy Hands. Manages to get his opponent to back off just for a moment to compose, but he's landing some great shots now, Yeezus is, and if he continues to do this, as long as he can avoid that uppercut that Heavy Hands is trying to get, just like that, he sits him down. This may even be the end of the fight, trying to pile on the ground and pound. Just about the defense holds up, but it was very, very close. Now resting in side control, trying to work those short shots. Excellent defense from Yeezus, but that was a massive moment from Heavy Hands. I believe the first full knockdown of this fight, with the ending 30 seconds as he gets reverse stock and tries to get some GMP. No, sorry, separates. I thought he was going to get ground and pound. Only 18 seconds left in the round. Hip toss for Heavy Hands. I think that's a good choice for him as well. Obviously a big moment, trying to stop that forward pressure from Yeezus. Big. I think that's about one apiece. Am I right, Doc? I think first round, second round, going one way or the other for either gentleman. But obviously that's a massive second round for Heavy Hands.
Yeah, massive second round, fantastic job just getting that uppercut. As I think, as you both mentioned, you just need that one big shot, and then to be able to counter off it is the idea.
Nice work. I think that was a stunner moment ago. It's trying to pressure. It's intelligent pressuring as well. I've said it in multiple fights in the past. In order to really get your opponent feeling, your pressure, you need to cage cut a little bit more, which is what Heavy Hands has been doing anytime he's got his opponent backed up against that cage. Just makes it feel a little bit more claustrophobic, tries to force out errors from your opponent. Both guys jockeying for position right now, playing the war of the footsies, and, having good opportunities to counter each other.
Yeah, well, this is kind of the game, especially when you've got a mirror match of Poirier. You're not going to be able to outlast someone, out-cardio them since it's a mirror. So instead, you've got to look for the counters. And in the case of Poirier, he hits like McGregor. So if you're going to clip him, you're going to clip him.
Nice work, attacking that body. Big left hook to the head of Heavy Hands, and now he's still attacking that body. Just the fact that he stayed so committed to that. He's had a lot of success. Once again, Heavy Hands gets the rock back and goes for the flying armbar attack there, Doc. You don't often see too many of those.
I mean, we saw one last card, so I think maybe you saw that and thought, hang on, let's try a flying armbar. With that being said, those
Jesus, man.
Counters, the uppercuts, bobbleheading out of his way, the gas tank of Poirier, he's so gassed, goes for a pullback, goes for an uppercut, narrowly avoids it, and both of them are just looking for a battle with the last 2 minutes left in this fight.
But that was an incredible way to start out the third round. Was not expecting so many rocks. I think we got 3 or 4, maybe even each side so far in this third round. But still pressing the action, still looking for those big opportunities. Big counter for Yeezus as Heavy Hands looking for those pull-off counters. It's incredible. Just even when they're very, very injured, they're still looking for massive opportunities. Really, really digging deep, trying to pull out all of the tricks of the trade they have. And so far, so good. Massive success from both guys. It's on.
And the body rock and another drop there with the uppercut. Yeezus is starting to put on his pressure, allows him back up. But you've got to imagine, your gas tank's so low now that any kind of shot is going to hurt you, especially with such low health. But that being said, Yeezus is not far behind him, to be fair, Looney.
Yeah, he's stayed relatively good. This is where the body work that he's been doing from the first round is really, really starting to show itself. Both guys have eaten a lot of damage to the head. They've taken, a lot in every single respect, but just the body work alone from Yeezus over those first couple of rounds have really, really started to separate him at this stage, the late stages of this third round. And I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to, be the deciding factor, but it just gives him that little bit of an advantage where that damage is going to do a lot more, and he's just going to have a little bit more to dig deep and add an extra punch on the combination.
Oh, that head movement is saving him the block as well. He's just managed to avoid him getting dropped again. And with that being said, we call an end to the third round. That's a really hectic third round for saying how calm the first round was. So winning the favour of Yeezus, lovely job there. Taking the win over Heavy Hands, very much a back and forth fight with a slow and steady pace to begin with a hectic beginning.
Yeah, craziness. I mean, the output from both gentlemen was really, really up there. They took the first round to, just dig deep a little bit, look for their counter opportunities, look for their reads on their opponent, and when they were able to get it, that second and third round, especially that third round, was just... It was hectic, man. I mean, the amount of rocks to start out that one opponent, and Parlay on the loop back, it put our stream on. They put on primetime straight afterwards. I appreciate the YouTube algorithm linking us up like that. Nevertheless, we're going to be moving on to the very next fight of the evening there, Doc. We're going to be having another LW man. One I've seen fight a few times, LW Reaper. He's got some skills, and he's looking to employ the full array of them here this evening as he takes on Automatic, which I believe made his debut last season, Doc, if I'm not mistaken, and did pretty well as well.
Yeah, he did. I think it may have been a car fight. It may have been a car fight then, since I recognise that car, I think we may have had a blue-haired beast in the heavyweight division go against him. I think he may have took the win as well. It was definitely an interesting fight to watch.
Here goes nothing. We see Dustin Poirier up against the calf pit from the Automatic. NWO seems to be the camp. I believe it's a camp over on the PlayStation side. I'm not as familiar with all of the PlayStation camps as of yet, as that community does continue to grow within Primetime MMA, but the guys that we've seen so far, they've been very, very impressive, being able to dig deep and a lot of the time have a very, very entertaining striking style. From what I hear, the striking is strong on the PlayStation side of things, and we continue to see that, in each of the performances out here.
Well, start off with Reaper's digging to that body early, got the body kick off, dead in an uppercut, another straight, and looking for that pullback as well. This is going to be a very aggressive fight in terms of Reaper by the seams of it.
Yeah, obviously this is a lightweight, but Automatic's gone for a bigger man in this weight class. Obviously, definitely going to be having weight behind those shots and looking to try and be a little bit more countered here. He's actually being very, very light on his feet for a bigger man. He's got very, very impressive movement.
Yeah, but Reaper's kind of looking for that boxing style. He seems to want to be keeping it close. He doesn't want to keep the kickboxing up. And on the other hand, can't remember his name now. His opponent is definitely more, as you said, bit more fluid on the plate, bit more, and just trying to poke and prod, but he can't seem to figure out his range to actually start getting the poking and prodding off.
Yeah, this is good work right here. Nice uppercuts. We see counters anytime one of them goes to the body. They're looking to time each other with some uppercuts, trying to work in those knees. Excellent work from Automatic, pounding on a couple of short shots and able to get his opponent down. Misses those kicks though, and Reaper from the LW boys decides to very intelligently shoot for that double leg, turns to the side and finds himself in side control, which is not as strong as it was in UFC 3, but still a very dominant position to be in over there, Dog.
I mean, as time has progressed, you've seen a lot stronger side controls. It used to be a kind of a weak position at the very beginning of the game. Now, ties like having a very good side control is possible, and people have figured out tips and tricks of how to maintain it. So it's much more viable than it was in the past, but it's, as you mentioned, not as viable as UFC 3.
They now find themselves back on the feet, working nice shots on the inside, the kicks, the hands are all starting to fly. Automatic once again slipping off that center line and looking for some big counters. Reaper sees it, looks to raise him one up and answer back, and already we see that Automatic is gassed. We have 1:30 left in the first round, and if it wasn't for some perfect defense there, Automatic could have been ending the night after so much success to start him off.
Reaper's just digging to the block. He's going up high, just waiting for any type of main counter, and then digging down to the bottom straight afterwards. That's going to be what idea there. Both of them going with the pullbacks, and the elbow miss, gassed out. Elbow counter though as he's gassed, and you've got this 50 seconds left. Another gas counter, as you saw by these car player. The Reaper's just trying to dig to that body, dig to the head, just looking for any type of counter he can find. Smart.
It's really smart, right? His opponent came out here, he took, just like he's doing now, he took his time, and then when he decided to go, he went from 0 to 100 in 0.6 and absolutely unloaded with combinations. But you can see that's had huge effects on his gas tank, and Reaper attacking the body has sped that up as he continues to rain down hooks to close out the round. This could even be it. Just about surviving into that second round. That's a tough one for Automatic to come back from. I don't know if the recovery stats are going to be there for him. LW Reaper weathered the storm and unleashed combinations of his own, Dog. I think that going into the second, the momentum's all in his favor, as we see he's still got a fairly high stamina stat considering the amount of damage that's been thrown his way.
Yeah, well, the Carps have a very interesting set. Is they have the striking, they have the grappling, depending on the archetype. A lot of the time, though, they don't actually have the cardio, so it's not all to be expected. I mean, he's taken it down to the ground, probably looking for it since he knows his gas, since he's going to know that his vulnerability window is going to be very much higher with the low gas tank compared to the Poirier. Now Poirier is just looking to dig that body, look for the counters, gets a stun though, and that's even 30 seconds into the fight, that's going to be very damaging for Automatic's confidence here.
It really is a very dire position for him to be in. LW Reaper trains with some really good guys, and I know he's got some skills on the ground. Decides to not opt for the ground and pound. He's having so much success on the feet that when he lands, it's having massive amounts of an effect on Automatic's. I was going to say on Automatic's overall health, but just like that, he can't exchange anything, Doc. He can't exchange with anything.
He really can't. He's got to poke and prod if he's going to use anything. Major runs into the body kick. We saw how dangerous that is in the past, and now we're back on the ground. 3 minutes 30 seconds left on the clock. This could be Reaper's idea to either hold it here or just get it back on the feet. It's his choice. He's the one in control, but it seems a bit so far.
Yeah, all momentum going in his favor. I have to point out, though, Automatic's survival skills. Every time he's rocked on the ground, his opponent jumps on to finish. He just seems to know he has that mystic ball out. Just knows exactly when to lean, when to pull the post up. This time he goes with a flying armbar. That's the second one in a row. Puts him down with a 1-2. This has got to be it, and it is. Reaper walks away with a big W. A lot of adversity to start out that first round, but once he got the the trains on the right track, it was all forward momentum. Able to get that with a big knockout, brother. Like, just everything he touched him with. Once he got him hurt, once he got him, like, just like a little bit gassed the first time out, Doc. From that moment onwards, he almost felt like he was invincible. Decided to walk down his opponent and not allow him a moment's respite.
You can make a comeback from having low cardio, but you have got to dig deep. You have really got to dig deep and hope you find one perfect counter. Otherwise, again, it gives people someone free reign to come in and just control the fight in any way they deem fit.
Yeah, and ultimately there, that fight in particular, he was doing the right things, trying to, not allow his opponent to get those last finishing shots in. He did a great job of surviving those early sequences, when he was hurt on the ground. A lot of people, I think, would have probably got finished in those positions without, such excellent head movements, such excellent posting, and maybe on another night he will be able to maintain his stamina a little bit more. And I think that a lot of that goes down to the work that LW Reaper was doing, showing his veteran savvy, deciding to dig to that body after having the early adversity. He knew his opponent was coming at him heavy, knew he was throwing a lot of headshots, so put that money in the bank, and that added up a lot quicker in this fight. Just a big finish for Reaper. He did an excellent job, showed an educated approach in difficult times.
He did indeed. Raven Reaper, he evidently knew what main target was going to be. He started out with that lead leg kick, coming up with body kick, and just controlled the fight from the bodywork. And now up next we have Desire versus King Jon Snow in the heavyweight division. It's going to be an interesting fight. Desire, known from the FSK boys, predominantly grapplers, very aggressive in how they fight as well. So
yeah, they're really fun. I don't know as much about King Jon Snow. I believe he's newer to the promotion, but looks like Desire's gone with Action Bronson. That is absolutely hilarious. He makes his UFC 4 in Primetime MMA's debut. Appears to be going up against Gus, if my eyes didn't mistake me. So he's going to have a lot of distance to cover. I think there's a bit of a height disparity in this one, although they are the same weight.
Well, it should also be noted that a bit comical in the moveset is Action Bronson actually has a standing gilly. You can't use it, but he does have it.
That's brilliant. He's doing a good job so far. That knee didn't have to travel far to get up to his face, but nevertheless. Desire landing big shots. All about those flow state kings. When he hits his momentum, he's a hard man to stop. Often gets his opponents hurt, smells that they're close to being lights out, and often just finds that way to dig it, to knock it out the park, I should say. King Jon Snow, though, appears to be recovered, doesn't seem to be too flustered with it, although those side kicks he's throwing, I think that's the second or third time already it's been sidestepped by Desire. He's too much of a veteran to not see that coming, and to obviously counter it each and every time he gets an opportunity.
Gustin's poking at him with that jab, but he's not firing anything behind him. If he wants Desire to react to it, he's going to have to fire something, a lead hook and uppercut. You just decide, as you said, too much of a veteran just to really care about if someone's just going to poke you with a jab. Yeah, that's fine. You're not going to do any damage to him, though.
I think it's a great way to, try and keep him at bay. But like you say, he's got to put something a little behind it, and especially with this height disparity, I think that he could get a little bit more active with his rangy shots, the jabs, the straights. Obviously, you've got the teeps just like that right there. They're all going to be, very, very high percentage strikes for Gustafsson in this sort of matchup. You've got to play to your strengths, and in this fight, he's got a very, very clear height and reach advantage. So he's got to try and employ that. It would be silly to stand on a napkin and just throw bombs, right?
Yeah, it's that's probably one of the best. One of the best things I've heard, Stibby to throw bombs on a napkin. Gustin, though, is trying to get this distance, but every time he does engage, though, Brunson is just getting the main action out of it. He's getting the counters, getting the slips. Just that lead hook is landing cleanly every time it actually lands.
Yeah, I don't understand how he just threw that kick and landed it. It looked like it would be miles away. But no, fair play. He must have a very, very high power stat. I've never actually looked at Bronson's stats, to be fair, but I imagine that he's got pretty high power, because right now Desire's timing them nicely, and with with a fairly decent precision that he's landing, it's just a lot of damage is leaking through onto King Jon Snow's chin. He's already been knocked down, I think, twice. A third time right there, if my maths is right. Continues to press forward and make that that little man's strength known.
Yeah, 5 seconds left on this clock, and he's already up 2 knockdowns. He's still putting on this pressure, and in the heavyweight division, I don't think it really matters about the power stats. It matters if your guy has under 90, which I think Gustafsson does, but if you're above that, any shot you throw is going to hurt like a pain. With that being, both of them are just trading shots over and over again at the end of that round.
Yeah, he was trying to get it back. I can understand it as well. There's a lot of a lot of success came out of Action Bronson's side. It's especially at the end of the round, he could have probably just said that round was over, but any chip damage he can do is all going to add up. With the pick of Gustafsson, you've got to imagine he's going to have better recovery stats. I can't imagine that Bronson's is too high up there, so if he's able to try and mitigate a little bit of this damage and continue to land some of his own, maybe he can turn the tides, as we've seen in some of the previous fights. Those are some good shots right there. He's got Bronson's head health pretty low, and nicely got out of range after landing them, not taking too many pictures, which is maybe where he was getting caught before. Just like that, Doc, stayed in that pocket a little bit too long, and Desire able to find a home for those big power shots.
Well, it's also the fact of how short someone is. If you're playing in the pocket, the short opponent's going to land first always, and that's what Brunson is. He's a short person, and he's going to want to stand in that pocket to get the shots off first to trade. And that slip off that jab, though, is being one of the best weapons Desire's got today. He's dropped him back a couple times now with that slip straight.
Yeah, he's had a lot of success with it in high percentage moves. A 1-2 into the head kick. Even though that leg kick doesn't really have much of a range to it, he still finds a home for it time and time again. Got Gus pressed up against the cage, starting to take away some of that reach advantage that he could potentially have. Though he's trying to work that jab, like you say, there's not too much coming around around after it, and that's going to be really the deciding factor on big damage landing on Bronson, and what's going to get the respect out of Desire.
Yeah, the jab game's a very good game to play. If you can just make sure your jab's there, you found your distance. But the issue is if you triple up on it, you're not going to be able to throw anything behind it, and that's one of the issues. Even in high level play, you see the jab used quite a lot, but you also always see the straight thrown behind in a lot of cases, because that's the shot that matters. The jab's there to set up the straight. In this case, he's just setting up the jab to set up the jab.
What Bronson is doing great, what Desire is doing great after it, like you say, he's finding his range, he's getting his opponent to close the distance on him, and then every time he's out of his combinations, he decides to put that pressure on. He knows his opponent's going to have low stamina, he's not going to be able to retreat as well, and often, finding his opponent in some high vulnerability positions, see him feinting a couple of kicks right there, getting his opponent to continue to pop out some shots, and then answering back with a lot of heavy, heavy hands to the head. Able to get another rock on Jon Snow. He's not having a lot of success here, other than that spinning elbow changed the tides, but not able to put the cherry on top. Both guys having a lot of success here, but that head health really, really suspect of Jon Snow right now. It's blinking at an alarming rate, Doc. It's just not able to get out of that recovery position going into the end of the second round.
Yeah, it's that's when you really know you gotta find a big shot. He's got maybe hopefully a front kick. That may be an idea if, as Desire comes in, if you can clip him with a front kick, you stand a good chance at getting something off. But Desire's just got mastered that jab and how to use it better than Gustin. Gustin's sticking out quite a bit. Every time Desire's got it, he's always got something coming behind that jab.
Yeah, and one thing I will say as well, Gus, with never mind, Action Bronson gets his first win in his debut for Primetime MMA, courtesies of FSK's very own Desire. That was a big head kick finish. Like I said, he's got little legs, man. It's not easy to land those kicks to the face of somebody like Gus, but after that straight lands, catches his opponent on the way down, and my God, that was an absolutely savage finish to that fight, brother.
That was a savage finish, especially with those little legs of Bronson, as we pointed out. He did land that head kick a couple other times, so maybe he was always looking for that type of finish. Just as Gustin thought was out the way, getting punched, he would get kicked straight in the head, and in this case, it seemed to have worked.
Well, big win for him. You know, lot of respect. That was a tough fight for King Jon Snow. Desire, very tough opponent for anybody on the UFC 4 scene, and was obviously able to fully implement his vast array of skills today. He just had a plan to it, was able to use his veteran savvy to mitigate a lot of that damage. You look at the stats as well, they, all very high land percentages. He was able to get a lot of the significant strikes whiffed from King Jon Snow, about a 20% land rate for him. So yeah, just an educated approach from him. Interesting to see where he can go from here from both gentlemen. Obviously he's going to need to go back to the drawing board for King Jon Snow. Sure he will. And Desire doing that in a big way. He's going to be feeling very good on it. He's going to be looking to continue to develop those skills. He's always looking to, develop those skills and show what he can do on the Primetime and other promotions around here, obviously in a big way with wins like that, with underrated picks like that. Got to be very confidence building that you're doing the right things.
Yeah, it's always a lot of the time with any type of league fight. It's making sure you have this confidence, having the ability to, even when you're down but not out, you can make that comeback. One of the mainstays you always see within any fight within Primetime a lot of the time, even especially in the Xbox GP we had, was you had the underdogs having a bit of adversity, then coming back and making that comeback. And it's always the case. You always see this confidence. You have to make sure you maintain that confidence throughout the entire fight to make sure even you stand a good chance at winning.
Yeah, completely agree with you. Now, we say all of this, my man. This is a different Uzumaki, okay? Just to make sure, like I said, a little bit of an issue on the graphic side of things. They're very similar names, so do forgive. But Uzumaki now going to be stepping up against another veteran of the UFC 4 community and Primetime MMA in particular, previous champion in Matty D. This one's going to be in the bantamweight division, it appears, from what I am seeing, unless they change it, which they are not. Both are going Rob Font. A very fun pick in this weight class there, Doc. They've got going to have some exceptional boxing, and they're pretty rangy as well, so you can really work it on the inside or outside depending on what your favorite style is. Those counters, all that pressure, striking is really going to be there.
Yeah, you can play on the back foot, you can play on the front foot. It's one of the key things about Font is managing your range, making sure you got that jab out, making sure you have got that distance mastered. Against anybody else, Font is the range guy. However, when it's a mirror match, both of them have the same range, so you could easily come to this really brawling method. That being said, though, you see jab straight, fire straight out, and it seems to be the starting punches here.
Now, good work from him on the inside. Matty D known for absolutely sensational combinations. Be interesting to see if he's going to be able to maintain the same sort of success at range as he goes for that jab into the side kick. Now got his opponent in a wrestling sequence up against the cage dog. Working some short shots to the knees and taking his time. I think this is a bit of a difference from Matty D, showing a bit of an involvement in his game, not afraid to enter into the grappling and really see what his opponent's able to do down here. He knows he's got the striking in the bag, so looking to test his opponent on the ground. May go in his favor or may end up biting him in the butt as he gets reversed.
Does get the neither only get the reversal into the half guard. He does go for transition, ends up in the top mount. It's kind of an interesting reversal you see sometimes. Gives up his back. That's
this is tough. This is tough.
This is tough.
Now, obviously, Matty D is going to continue to rain down bombs. He's got that block broken, was not able to continue that pressure to get the finish, but that's definitely going to add up, and he's still got his opponent in a very, very tough spot. Zero stamina, panicking, trying to buck him out of full mount. The ground and pound continues to rain down. He will survive this one, but this is not great for Vuzumaki.
It really isn't. This is arguably the worst start you had. He did get the reversal early, then Matty D just got the top mount, and he's now just raining shot after getting that back mount. And he's gassed out. He needs to wait. He's going to have to take a couple more shots before he gets out, because these are just easy denies for such an experienced veteran such as Matty D.
Yeah, when you've got your opponent gassed in any ground and pound position, as long as you know what you're doing to a certain extent, it's just exceptionally easy to get any of the denials. You just got to know not to pre-deny. You have a solid second to react. So I mean, that just shows that Matty D is comfortable down here. He's not looking to rush it. He knows he's got the advantages, or he did a moment ago. As he continues to try and work some small amounts of GA and short shots from these top positions, but he does seem in full control so far, and with a lot of time to work, Doc, there's really a lot of opportunities for ground and pound. Obviously for the submissions, should he want to go that way as well, but knowing Matty, he wants to make his opponent feel his strikes, whether it be on the feet or on the ground, and so far so good with the ground and pound opportunities that are presented.
Well, we saw Uzumaki start out really nicely with the jab straight, so finally back on the feet. After 2 minutes, Matty D shoots a takedown front, one of the best takedowns, and now Matty D putting on this pressure, evidently annoyed by how the beginning of the fight went.
Nice slip off straight again. That seems to be a favoured strike of his. He's gone to it a couple of times already. Got caught once, but obviously he was able to land it successfully then, and when timed correctly can do massive amounts of damage to your opponent's head very, very quickly. It appears that Vuzumaki is trying to stay composed, trying to back off and look for his counter shots, having a little bit of a difficulty with his range at this stage though, and definitely needs to be a little bit tighter, otherwise those combinations are going to continue to be rained out from Matty D.
It just is the case of that straight hook, constantly just landing on the block. A side kick, interesting, I even forgot Font had that double uppercuts in fire and retaliation. A minute 30 left on this clock. You can't think that any of this striking debacle which has currently happened on the feet has really made any impact to what has happened also on the ground with Matty D's heavy ground and pound.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Vuzumaki is a late replacement in this fight as well. So respect for him to stepping up against a veteran like Matty D. He's not out of the fight by any stretch so far, but you can tell that he's having a lot of adversity, having a little bit of difficulty finding his momentum as he continues to eat some combinations on the outside. Those are some good shots for him right there, though. Maybe he's starting to try and find those shots a little bit more, trying to turn the tides, but the combinations seem to be causing him a lot of problems, Dog.
Yeah, it really is. He's just sticking to that body, just trying to find a bit of body working within this final minute. And again, Matty D's getting a jab off again, jab followed by a hook, did 2 shots and countered the pullback elbow. And it's just kind of, they're both trading, looking for the big counters, but none of them really giving up any position throughout the fight.
Yeah, causing a lot of problems with the combinations. They can be troublesome, man. Anytime you try to open up, you think somebody's going to throw a 3, they throw a 4, he throws a 1 to it. Just continually mixing up the combinations, which angle they're coming at you, whether they be straight, rounded shots, over the tops, even attacking the legs. The big slip straight once again landing with perfect precision. Matty D pressing forward now, getting a little bit unorthodox with the spinning elbow. Once again timing a perfect shot, Doc, and he's got his opponent hurt and up against the cage to close out round 1. Just about surviving it, I do think.
He's narrowly avoided surviving it though. Matty got on that knockdown at the very end after a body stun. If you're Uzumaki during this, coming into the second round, you're going to have to really dig deep and find something to face your adversity coming out of this.
Well, those are some beautiful shots. We know Matty D's dangerous with his combinations. He obviously found a hole in the game a little bit earlier on with the grappling. I think that if he wanted to now, after a very, very successful end to the first round, he was able to get down at the beginning. Obviously, he was able to implement his clearly, he just had better grappling, I suppose is what I'm looking to say. And then going in towards the end of it, that was all setting up the hands. I think he got him a little bit flustered. Uzumaki seemed, good at the beginning with the striking, but a little bit flustered in the second half. So Now he needs to find his, find his opportunities, find his momentum there, Doc. He needs to take his time because he cannot continue to sit in the pocket with Matty D. He just has superior combinations by my estimation. Everything he lands is just damaging, working that block and the head held over and over again until he's out, brother. What a knockout by Matty D.
That's a beautiful knockout. He just started pushing him and getting those combos off over and over again. Matty just controlled it there, but not even giving Uzumaki a chance to retaliate in any impossible ability.
Yeah, like I said, he stepped on short notice. Tough opponent is Matty D, and for those reasons right there, when he's got you pressed up against the cage, when he's got your defensive kind of options limited, whether it be your block is broken, you don't have too much space to work, he just has the perfect combinations to continue to plaster you through that block and really add up over time. I've experienced it myself. That man has fanatical pressure and can really make it difficult for anybody to get out of range. So like I said, tough fight. I'm sure he'll be back better than ever, but, a great showing from Matty D here this evening, and interested to see where he can go from here. Previous title holder in Primetime MMA, and I'm sure that those, is ultimately where his sights are, Doc. He wants to work his way back to there and, get that strap once more.
Yeah, at least you would hope it is. You're never particularly sure. Maybe he's looking to make a statement for himself. Maybe he's looking just, as you mentioned, that title belt, and that's probably the end goal in a lot of people's mind. But as we've seen, as time progresses, Primetime builds up this massive roster of fighters, so it's going to be interesting to see who faces coming up afterwards. Yeah,
and just to bring attention, Matty D's in the chat saying, sorry about my performance, lads, it was a little bit weak, and I completely disagree. I think that was a phenomenal performance. He's saying it's his first fight on, and especially if it's your first fight on, to come on a little cold and to to work his game the way he did. I think he did fantastic. Educated approach to start out, take him down, work the hands a little bit later on, and that finish was a big finish, man. Once again, the combinations came through nice and cleanly, able to land with picture perfection, and sits his opponent down pretty quickly after a very dominant opening round. But nevertheless, my man, we move on to the next one, which I do believe is a PlayStation bout. LW once again stepping in with Bomber Donation up against Kobe, previous Xbox competitor, absolute savage all round that's stepped across into the PlayStation scene and has been doing great work since he's got across there, Doc. We've seen him have a lot of success being able to implement a full array of mixed martial arts. Behind that beautiful striking that he has, he's also shown to have some great counter jiu-jitsu and so on behind it.
He has had some fantastic part here. Poirier is an all-round fighter. The rubber guard, their body kicks. On the other hand, Chandler's got the power like Poirier, but he's also got a couple good leg kicks. Has the top game, not necessarily the bottom game on the other hand.
So these guys not wasting any time. There are big shots being landed in the pocket right here. Not really exiting the pocket too much. Looks like Poirier is just pushing forward. It looks like he wants to land damage often and early, and Kobe's having a lot of success doing that, forcing out some mistakes from Old Town Roads over there. Once again, perfect with the straight as his opponent missed the body kick. Right now, he seems to have him second guessing what he's going to do, and having a lot of difficulty getting behind the full range of Kobe's Dustin Poirier. Just excellent boxing, excellent striking all round so far.
Well, this is what you want. If you can get this range established so early on in the first round, that's what is taking 2 minutes of in-game time. That's a very quick time to get that range established, and that's exactly what you do. It just means you can get your damage off quicker, find your shots quicker. Chandler makes a fantastic decision, just getting it down to the ground, maybe mix it up, so then when he gets back on the feet, he has to re-establish it, re-figure out how he's doing it.
Yeah, exactly, and maybe with a lot of time, to be honest with you, maybe his opponent doesn't get back to his feet. We haven't seen him work his ground game quite yet. He seems to have exceptional side control abilities. Every single transition being denied so far. Gets the crucifix as well. This is going to be pretty tight if he can stop the first one. Not able to, but once again showing shades of excellent on the ground is Chandler. Old Town Road's doing a fantastic job of implementing his ground game. And this is what he needed, Doc. He was having so much adversity on the feet with Kobe's just walking him down, landing shot after shot, that when it hits the mat, if he's got an advantage here, he needs to take full effect of that and make sure he gets the damage off as quickly as he can whilst maintaining that position.
Yeah, that's the backside position is probably one of the best positions for damage apart from the top man. Again, Kobe putting his pressure now. There's a minute 20 left on the clock and digs down to the body straight afterwards. This is an interesting battle. You got the head held fairly low on Kobe's side. An uppercut counter just digging that, making sure to work. Missed the body shot. Head kick comes to retaliation and a minute left on the clock.
Lovely work. Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing. That was a nice front kick landing from Chandler. The problem is he's having a little bit of a problem. He's got a lot of power, of course, but the range is just all in the favor of Kobe's, and he's such an educated striker. He really does seem to maximize that, that distance very, very well. Eating a couple of shots on the inside right here, maybe taking too many pictures after his combinations, but as you can see, all of this work, this absolutely crazy pace, the continued body attacks of Kobe seem to be playing already in a very, very early point in the fight, playing a big effect on the body health of Chandler as he gets that pull counter he was looking for that entire fight. Getting it just at the end of the first, brother. That was an action-packed one. Both guys having big successes, but if I was Chandler here, you got to think that he's going to try and get this fight back to the ground as quickly as he can, my man.
Well, especially since just how aggressive Kobe's coming out. He's coming out very aggressive, looking to work the body, looking to work the head, just looking to make it a slugfest indeed. So, I would agree with that as Chandler. You want to take it down very quickly and not trade in the pocket as he's doing now.
Yeah, we say that though, he was doing a lot of head health damage, and he gets him rocked, sits him down, obviously finding a lot of success at the beginning of round 2, and he gets the takedown we were calling for a moment ago. This is a way to change momentum, and right now he may even be closing the fight out. What an adjustment from Old Town Roads. Just about surviving his Kobe's, but my god, is he in a very, very dangerous spot once again, getting denied by Chandler. This man's grappling seems very, very on point, Doc.
It does indeed. The backside position, such a dangerous position with low head health. He can just be patient, sneak the shot through the block. Kobe, on the other hand, does manage to get out. Now he's got to be wary. He can't trade in the pocket. The power of Chandler's something to be feared. And with that being said, he just digs straight back down to ground pound. Kobe gets the reversal, though. Massive change in adversity now. And suddenly you have Kobe raining down shot after shot on the ground.
Yeah, he's trying to take this fight by the horns a lot. Oh my god, he got it as well. On just like really a moment's notice, one of those can't blink fights, both guys throw in bombs, both guys having massive moments of success. I mean, the groundwork from Chandler, Old Town Roads just looking phenomenal once it hit there, but obviously on the side of Kobe's, his composure, he was in top mount getting absolutely blasted in the face. One perfectly timed slip, it was enough to implement one of those beautiful sweeps from Dustin Poirier, finds himself on top on every single shot, doing the damn thing, adding up and getting Chandler out there nicely with just a savage sequence of ground and pound. Beautiful fights. Start to finish tonight, but especially that fight lived up to all the hype. I suppose that's why it was the featured fight of the prelims, brother.
Both of them had a back and forth fight. You couldn't really tell what was going to happen. You had Chandler nearly getting the finish so early on in that second round, and then Kobe gets the reversal. It was just a hectic and very insane fight. Lovely job by both opponents.
Yes, sir. That does, my man, take us on to the 6-fight main card that we have set up ahead of you. Just to run through it very, very briefly, we are going to be having BSD Broomstick, one of the all-round savages of the scene, had some difficulties in Season 1, came back looking very good in Season 2, and looking to make his name, really get that stamp down on Season 3 as he moves into this one. Taking on another dangerous veteran of the scene, TMF Toolit, been with us, I believe, since Season 1 or Season 2, and has been having, some really good performances as of late as well, Doc, so this is an excellent matchup to start us out. As we mentioned, one of my lockout fights of the evening, Kevin P up against FSK for the Vibes Ricardo in the lightweight weight class. Another very, very kind of action-packed fight, I would imagine. Both guys are known pretty much for their striking, at least in the performances I've seen out there, Doc. Tadpole's retirement fight, I heard word from the back, is going to be up against Big E, so a lot more weight added onto that fight right there, of course. And then High Roller, King Amazon, Magical Cloud, Cryptic Optics. Great Mist, Satchmo Life to top off the entire event, Doc. This is going to be a crazy main card. I cannot wait to get into it, my man.
Indeed. Broomstick starting in the welterweight division, so you've got a lot of good choices here. You've got striker, you've got grapplers, you've got a multitude of fighters depending on what you want to go. You've got Usman, you've got Burns, you've got GSP, who can strike and grapple, bit sketchy on the health stats. You've got Masvidal, who will punch your lights out, flying near you in the face. And by the seams of it, it's going to be a very interesting fight.
Yeah, the RDA and Gilbert Burns appear to be the pick. Like you said, there's a lot of options, and these two picks right here are perfect examples of that. Just very well-rounded opponent. RDA has fantastic striking. His kicks are also very, very deceiving. Works excellent behind his hands, and obviously allows him the opportunities then to set up those level changes that he does so well, mixing in that grappling, that forward pressure, that wrestling, that jiu-jitsu. Really, really able to do it all. One of the more well-rounded players that you could possibly pick, although does have some setbacks with the chin and the likes. And then, of course, Gilbert Burns has incredible durability, fantastic boxing, and one of the best jiu-jitsu games that we have seen grace the octagon in recent years. This has all the hallmarks for an excellent fight. It's going to start us out in a big way, you've got to imagine, for this main card. And like you say, welterweight, and just a really, really fun weight class to have, brother. It's so many options. And with these picks, I think they perfectly match these players' skills. It's going to allow them to really implement the full array of mixed martial arts, which is where they've had so much success in their previous performances.
I would agree there. That being said, though, Burns has the power. RDA has kind of the technique of it all. So Burns is probably going to look to maybe be a bit more brute forcey than RDA, but that's not to be said you can be brute force with RDA at the same time, though.
Yeah, I think that, just to add on to that as well, I think that does go a lot. The fact that he's a little bit more durable as well, of course, is Gilbert Burns. Nice head kick from I'm Too Lit. I'm Too Lit is the RDA pick. Broomstick is the BSD side with obviously Gilbert Burns. Nice little feint into a flying knee attack. That was creative from RDA, and he's showing that he's got to be respected at all moments. You cannot sleep on this guy, or he will find a big opportunity to land something just like that right there.
Both of them are playing kind of in the middle, as I say, like they're starting trading pocket a bit. They're both just poking and prodding, still working out this distance. I think this has been kind of stated throughout this entire card. Is it that distance management when in the first round? We're just looking to make the distance zone and then start to come in afterwards, playing the aggressive game. And seems like Too Late has started to figure out that distance and is beautifully trading against someone like Burns.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to pan out if he continues to eat shots as well, but so far he's had the better of the counters, but he's eating a lot of shots as well, and like we mentioned, and like you expertly pointed out, the more kind of doggy-ish the fight that this gets, the dirtier this fight gets, the more that's going to go into the favor of Gilbert Burns, or so you would assume, as he continues to try to get some exchanges going, and RDA continuing to try and obviously get on that outside, trying to work some feints. If he's able to catch him biting on one of those feints, it could be lights out very, very quickly. We saw with that flying knee attempt a little bit earlier on that they can be deceiving some of them, and if you think your opponent's going to throw a head kick, you might be trying to duck. If they cancel that, go for that flying knee once again, it could be a very, very dangerous time for you.
Yeah, well, I think if I'm not mistaken, Arte's actually got a 94 chin, which is better than Burns. I'm not mistaken.
I mean, that would be crazy if that's real. Like,
I think that is legitimate. It's really weird. RDA is such an underrated pick since he's actually got really good health stats. Burn, I think, in this matchup actually has the worst health stats. What makes up for it, however, is the power Burns has in his hands. Is that he hits like a truck and he will make sure you go down like a sack of potatoes if you do get hit by him.
Well, if those statistics are true, then my entire assessment would be reversed, and RDA would be the better of the two in the doggiest type of battle if he has the better health stats. But like you say, the power definitely not to be trifled as he continues to land that straight lead body hook, which is a lovely technique to utilize it on any opponent that's pressuring forward. Seems very, very much like they're jockeying for positional play in the cage, back and forth action, trying to push each other back, behind those black lines, which... Once again, it does appear that Broomstick seems to be having the better of the kind of leading the fight, although he has to be careful of the counters coming his way. Too Late has landed a couple of times now with some nice slip-offs, that centre line.
Both of them playing a fairly steady game, trading in the pocket. Though, by looks of the stats, you've got 21 single strikes in the favour of RDA, so maybe RDA's got the better round within it, but I'm expecting a takedown by one of them. That's what I'm expecting coming into the second round, because you've had this distance game, you've had the striking game play out, and now let's see how the grappling game plays out. That's entire idea of the MMA sport, mixing it up, see how your opponent reacts and using and capitalizing on their weak spot.
Yeah, give them a lot to think about, right? And the more they have to think about, the more likely they are to make a mistake. Now, some nice range management from Broomstick. Got in, landed a couple of shots, and then just stepped just out of range to land after his opponent missed their return shots. But doesn't look like Tulit's going to rest on that too long. Instantly finding counters of his own, posts off, and then lands a couple of big bombs over there, Doc. Once again, though, he's not just rushing it when he's got his opponent rocked. He's taking his time, staying composed. He knows he doesn't want to get himself gassed, and has so far had a very, very measured approach to the entire fight.
Interesting note that Burns' leg is actually kind of damaged. If Tulit keeps going to that, it's going to definitely give Broomstick something to think about. If you can make someone's leg really hurt, force them to switch stance, they're probably not going to be as agile fighting from it.
For sure. I also, once again, just to point back to something that Competitor had mentioned a little while ago, that it also takes away from the actual damage your opponent can put out. So if your opponent's got a lot of power in their hands, you attack that leg, they're not able to put, obviously, there's much weight on that leg, and thus it takes away some of the damage that they're able to put out from their shots. Although the damage isn't gone quite yet for Burns. He is landing a lot of shots and is pressing the action very, very heavily, Doc. Can be very claustrophobic, although Tulit seems to be comfortable in those positions as he continues to sidestep for the moment.
Yeah, the major lunges by Tulit are just keeping his back away from the cage. He does probably need to think of a better way to get out of there, circling out there. But again, Broomstick putting on this pressure, trapping him against the cage, that rear hook and narrowly clipping him. And so far, RJ is now severely on the back foot. He needs to think about getting this pressure off. Maybe shooting a takedown will be the idea here, just to reset the entire striking battle.
Yeah, and like you say, they're both so well versed no matter where the fight goes. And when you're getting hurt like this, you do need to mix it up. Broomstick seems to be feeling himself right now, has landed some big, big shots. Doesn't seem to be taking too much of a concern on what's coming back his way. And like we were calling for, Tulit just very, very educated in his approach, decides to mix it up, go for that double leg, turns the angle, and now he finds himself on the mat. We'll see if he's able to secure the position. Decides to separate. Obviously, those can be sometimes they can be tough to get out of, right? The sprawl position, it can be a bit of a stalemate, as it's pretty easy to defend from your opponent taking you back.
Well, the only time you would get up from that sprawl position is like the position Tulit was in, when your back is against the cage and you have the risk of getting a reversal. Otherwise, even just ending up in that clinch position is actually not a bad position. But since you can deny it in some cases, if not, they can just get the get up and then you just say, oh, lovely pullback, though. He's consistently just framed out and then taking a shot at Burns, and it's been such nice to see.
I'm enjoying what I'm seeing from both guys, to be honest with you. They're both having a lot of, opportunities to get huge amounts of damage off just like that. They're finding openings for big damage. The flying knee once again to close out the round from RDA. Beautifully timed from Tulit. He's been looking for that the entire night. Maybe he sees something in Broomstick's game that means he's susceptible to flying knees. Of course, he trains with some of the best flying knee practitioners in the game, like obviously the mighty Dale Denton likes to mix them in there. Of course, Stepwise the Bird has some of the crazy sneaky flying knees as well, so obviously been working on them, and so far he's had a lot of success behind the rest of his striking, because he's playing a bit of a counter game. He's been using a lot of feints, a lot of slip stock, and just getting big damage off on his opponent. Broomstick is having a lot of adversity, but also finding a lot of openings for his own success.
He is. Both of them got fairly overhead health. The leg kicks probably is something for Tulit to go back to. They were given a bit of adversity, and so far that's probably his main game. Does get hooked in the face up as he goes for a leg kick. They're framing off the jab straight, nearly clipping him in the face. Broomstick's game so far has been this pressure, and it is working. We saw at the end of the round 2, and now he's starting to put on shit again. And so far, I think he's just looking for that one key shot now.
Yeah, what he was doing in round 1 a little bit more than he's been able to do in round 2 and the beginning of round 3 is he was landing some of the damage and then he was getting out of the way, but maybe that goes down on the fact that his left leg is now chewed up, as you alluded to in the second round there, Doc, and that can be a big, big changer of the fight. If your opponent isn't as mobile, he's not able to get out of the way of some of the shots that you're returning. Although, I'll be honest, that head half from RDA right now looking real suspect, and Broomstick doesn't look like he seems like he wants to go to the judges, my man. He seems like he wants to throw everything at him. He will end this fight either going, with his hands up and running around in a crazy fashion, or obviously with his face down on the canvas himself, looks to live and die by the sword as he gets taken down once again, trying to stop that forward momentum. Tulit did a very educated thing, I do think. I'm surprised he separated, man. He had him injured and he had him gassed right there.
Indeed, tries to do the counter spinning elbow, gets the stun. 2 minutes left on the clock, and so far RDA has been the one pressured. He doesn't want to put the pressure on, though, in retaliation. It's an interesting thing to.
Oh, well, that absolutely sucked. I do apologize. Well, somebody's getting their wrist slapped for that one. No, I'm joking. These things will unfortunately happen. We'll find out what happened to the end of their fight. Kind of sucks a little bit, but it looked like it was going one way or the other. We'll have to get an update from them in the back, and we'll read out to you on that one. We're not going to waste too much time on it. Kind of sucks, but we'll move straight into the next one, which is a fight that was never going to fail to deliver. Going to be having Kevin P taking another step into the UFC 4 cage under the lights of Primetime MMA up against FSK. For the Vibes Ricardo, which has been a mainstay of Primetime MMA for quite some time. Recently got his ESFL comp role as well, I believe, Doc. Obviously showing the hard work he's been putting in and how dangerous this man is all round. Obviously a tough opponent in him against the great Kevin P, but we'll see how these guys match up. I think it's going to be a striker's delight if their previous performances are anything to go by.
Indeed, Ricardo is such a striking battle. Kevin P, on the other hand, I think his last opponent was a striker as well with Jake Paul, so it's going to be an interesting one to witness all around.
Well, here they go. Conor McGregor up against Edson Barboza. That's a fun one, man. Edson Barboza, a very, very dangerous kicker, has some good power in his hands as well. Of course, Conor McGregor definitely has the advantage in the boxing aspect of things. The footwork is phenomenal as well. But let's be honest, that left hand, the power of Conor McGregor is really, really where it's at. And, it so often ends the night very, very quickly.
Well, it's interesting. Oh god, instant knockdown there. Barboza's only got an 88, so he's got to make sure he's in the kicking ranks.
Those FSK boys as a whole, they just have such phenomenal pressure. They have the ability to really, really find openings to get their opponents out there very quickly, as we've seen from the likes of Tad, obviously Keza, Comp, and obviously the owner himself in the mighty Ricardo. As he continues to press forward, he's already found openings for that left hand nice and early. Looks to make his opponent feel the pressure, trying to get him pressed right up against that cage and land some boxing techniques as Edson goes for the takedown. Not able to get it, but once again, it just gives your opponent something to think of, Doc. They're at least thinking that you will shoot now, and therefore they have to be a little bit more diligent in their approach.
Yeah, you may be a bit more diligent, but with 2 knockdowns in your favour already, you're going to think that Ricardo's just looking to land something flashy now. His confidence built, nearly gets the wheel kicked up, and McGregor's got that power putting on this thing. Not letting him back up, but 3 minutes down, he's already got 3 knockdowns in his book at least, and he will have the better trading ability. That's purely fact with McGregor's power and hands.
Oh, yeah, no, Ricardo is not a man that, is low on confidence as he comes in here and looks to run through his opponent. Barboza needs to weather the early storm. I think the round 1 or 2 with Conor McGregor is just insanely difficult. You need to get out of that round, to try and take some pop off that punch. Right now, he's doing a great job of just stepping off a little bit. His head health is very low, though. His stamina is very suspect. Ricardo's just done an all-round exceptional job of finding any opening his opponent has, given him, and really, really taking this fight by the horn so far, Dog. Just not allowing Edson anything as he slips into that straight, or perfectly timed into that straight, I should say, when he goes for that kick. That was beautiful timing from Ricardo. Did not waste any time this evening getting the work done. Obviously wanted to show that there's levels to this game, and that he's been leveling up for a long, long time.
Yeah, that's sometimes the case. You do. Barboza's such a weird pick, I'll be honest. It's a fair pick indeed, but as you can see, if you can't manage that distance correctly, you're going to have massive issues, especially with a pick like Conor.
Yeah, and a lot of that, I'll be honest with you, I don't think was too much on what Kevin P was doing wrong necessarily. It's just that he was up against somebody that just has a crazy amount of forward pressure. Ricardo is not a man that misses his shots. He has an intelligent gamer all round to the way that he approaches these fights. And although there is a crazy amount of pressure, it's because he knows the combinations he needs to land. He knows that he needs the cage cut and exactly what he needs to do to make that game plan have a lot of success, as we saw right there. Edson just couldn't get out of the way. He tried to circle out, he tried to do what he could, but Ricardo all over him and was able to get a nice knockout to start out Season 3 for him. I do think that was his first fight in Season 3, am I right, Doc?
What with Ricardo? I believe it was.
Yeah, I did think so. Well, great fight, great fight. Moves us on now to the retirement fight of the one and only FSK Tadpole. He said that he's going to be taking a little bit of a break from UFC 4 in the competition sense, of course, taking a fight up against a very, very fan-friendly favorite in BSD Big E. Both of these guys have highlight finishes on their resumes, Doc, and I would expect nothing less heading into, you know, this main card. Now these guys are in this position for a spot. They're entertaining fighters, always looking to push the pace as they step opposite each other with opposing Conor McGregor's. Conor McGregor, old school, Conor McGregor, new school, in terms of the character model. Featherweight bout, if you couldn't tell.
Well, there is McGregor in lightweight and welterweight. Although he doesn't own a new model, to be fair, so kind of a dumb statement.
Yeah.
But we continue.
Right. Yeah, no, this is going to be a fun fight. Like I said, they both have really, really fun striking styles for the most part. They can do it all. I think that at this point in UFC 4 now, if you can't do it all in terms of at least to a satisfactory level, then you're missing a little bit of the game. You're a little bit behind the game. These two guys definitely can. They picked Conor McGregor for a reason, though. They favor that striking. They favor flashy knockouts when the opportunity presents, and I imagine that they're going to look for those opportunities here again this evening. They're going to start out slightly composed, pressuring each other back and forth, trying to jockey and look for an early advantage. Once they get that early advantage, Doc, that's when the pressure really starts. Both of these guys just absolutely pour it on anytime they smell any sort of weakness or, a deficit in their opponent's game.
Well, you see already BSD Big E starting out that jab, and so far he seems to have more effective striking so far just because that jab has figured out the distance already. Tadpole, on the other hand, is still throwing out a lot of kicks, just probably poking, just trying to get him to react something, so then you can look for the big counter afterwards.
Yeah, nice work catching the kick, putting him on the ground for a moment. He's attacking that calf very, very nicely. Is Big E seems to be taking a very, very measured approach, and I like it. He's very respectful of the damage that could be coming his way from Tadpole. He has such phenomenal combinations. It can be very, very difficult to stand in front of this man for too long at all. Expect that there will be damage coming your way if you do, and as a result, Big E once again just stepping in and out of range, landing some good shots, and trying to get out of the way of the damage that's being returned. Just like that, though, Doc, the combinations, once they land, are absolutely frightening. They are a terrifying sight to behold, and one of the reasons that he has so many highlight knockouts on his resume.
Yeah, you just got to be so wary. Whenever you engage Tadpole in pocket, you're going to get those combos ripped to you, and you got to be wary. There's no two ways about it, and there's no other way to say it. If you're going to stand there, you got to be hopeful that your defense stays uptight.
I am really, really liking the approach so far from BSD Big E. He's doing a great thing, like I said, just in and out, a lot of that lateral movement, but the defense, you see Tadpole is just so composed. He sees that spinning kick coming, he gets just out of range, tries to answer back, lands a couple of shots on the block, and that lets his opponent know that there is still a lot of danger coming his way. If he doesn't mind all of his P's and Q's, continues to utilize great movement, which is going to be harder and harder to do as Tadpole downloads and makes those reads. You've got to imagine that he's going to start to find some of those opportunities to unleash with some of those hellish combinations. Both guys, well, I'll have to say, man, this is very, very even so far. They're both just back and forthing each other, both guys landing occasionally, but they're doing the right thing in terms of the defense side of things, just getting out of the range of a lot of the final strikes, those big damaging shots. They're just about able to mitigate it there.
Yeah, both lovely duck there on the overhand, 30 seconds left. Both of them staying fairly calm, fairly centered. Tadpole's just slowly working him down. He isn't doing any major damage, but the damage over time is adding up, as you can see on the health stats. The body work definitely playing a part, and now BSD kind of hoping that he lands something big within these final seconds to make sure he's secured the round.
Nice work, man. Back and forth, both guys getting a lot of damage off. We're going to have to see who's going to make the necessary adjustments heading into the next one. It's really going to be the deciding factor in this fight with such a close back and forth battle. You know, the adjustments that are made on the fly is really where the fight is going to be won or lost in this bout. As you see, it's evenly contested in terms of the health, the stamina, just looking very, very mirrored at the moment. Although we are seeing Tadpole now start to land some kicks behind those punches, which could be a remedy for success if they continue to land with as much success as they did a moment ago.
That jab now from both opponents coming out. Pulling back, the elbow pullback though finally lands, and another teep to that body. Those teeps are playing some massive damage to the body. Tadpole looking for that body shot, nearly gets shot on, and now he's starting to put on this pressure that a minute into the round, missing the head kick, a body shot into the body shot. It's always there.
When his opponent was doing a lot more in and out movement, he's now trying to circle, I think because there was some of the rounded or spinning shots coming his way a little bit earlier on, working the jab very, very nicely. As we see, he's landing a jab, double jabs, throwing the straights behind it, the leg kicks to boot, and then those side steps, the major lunges are beautiful in evading some of the big counters that are trying to be returned on the opposite side. I will say that Tadpole looking the fresher of the two fighters due to the well-timed body kicks to start out round 2, Doc. That could be a deciding factor as we head down the stretch. Obviously, the stamina is a big factor in this game, and especially up against a pressure king like Tadpole. You've got to, you know, make sure that you stay there level for level with stamina the entire fight. You do not want to be at a stamina deficit, or your defense can be severely compromised.
Ooh. Well, Tadpole's done a lot of work to the body, but on the other note, biggest, he's done a lot of damage to that leg, so the power of his McGregor is going to be a lot less than the power of the other McGregor, so he's got to be wary of that on the trades. But the body work seems to be playing the major factor throughout this entire fight.
Yeah, nice work. You see the shots, the straight into the lead, the jab into the lead body hook. They're just beautiful combinations. His opponent's been looking for some counters to it, but nice check on the side of Tadpole. Got his opponent injured, now trying to take advantage of it, landing some combinations. Opponent just about doing the right thing, getting out of the way of some of those big shots, but it's a very, very tight one. You see the leg health from both gentlemen is suffering at this point in the fight. The stamina slightly lower on the side of BSD Big E, but everything else is about as even as it gets, Doc.
It really is. The bodywork is just making Tadpole's life a lot easier here. He's starting to now rip to that body and lead near body kick, a spinning heel kick in retaliation.
Oh!
And he gets cleared with a straight busting to it.
Get going for a knee. Tadpole finds an opportunity to plant down on that left hand, throws the straight right down the barrel. It finds his target and able to put BSD Big E on the canvas for this evening. Tadpole walking away with his hands raised for his retirement fight for now. That was a fun-ass match. Never expected anything less from two action-packed fighters, but a great way to move us on to the, well, kind of like the featured fight before we hit the co-main and the main event of the evening. Much respect to both gentlemen. Cannot wait to see BSD Big E in his next showing. And of course, Tadpole, enjoy your retirement, my man. Put your feet up, and I'm sure we'll see you back at some point down the line. Hard to stay retired forever in this UFC 4 community, I have to say.
Even you've tried it a few times and you still end up back with some other fights.
Yeah, sure. Always. I got one line down the books. We'll see about that one. I've got to work on my hands a little bit, but for now, all respects to Tadpole, and like I said, Big E for putting on a very, very fun fight for his retirement bout. A great one. I think this one, Doc, if I'm not mistaken, is a PlayStation bout. We see the LW boys make their fourth appearance of the night, if my maths is right. LW High Roller taking on King Amazon. Both guys have had phenomenal performances within the promotion in the past, and I think they're going to be looking to get this fight going very, very quickly. They're in middleweight. They both like to push the action, and that's exactly what I expect to see going into this bout. Robbie Lawler, Robert Whittaker appears to be the picks from what I'm seeing ahead of me. Which are fun picks, man. Robbie Lawler is not a pick that you see too often, Doc, but when you do see it, you always expect it to, you know, whoever's using him to bring that action and bring it very fast. Well, as we head into this one, we see High Roller, LW High Roller, I should say, on the side, picking Robbie Lawler, his opponent. On the opposing side, he's got his name as Fortnite on here, but King Amazon, obviously with Robert Whittaker, the Reaper. Imagine that there's going to be a lot of striking to go with it. Both guys got some big power in their hands. Slight speed advantage, I would imagine, on the side of Robert Whittaker, and of course he has some wrestling to go with it, and both guys I suppose, have that to fall back on, although they often use it to counter their opponents and make sure that they stay on the feet to be able to work their striking behind it. See a lot of pressure out of High Roller to start out this one. Continues to get his opponent pressed up against the cage, work to the legs and to the body. King Amazon able to answer back now, some clinch work after that stumble from Lola, but he is not getting out of there by any stretch. Robbie just happy to throw down anytime. He did not, just not backing up. Only seems to know one way in this fight, and that seems to be forward. But it was onto the uppercut of Amazon, perfectly timed, able to sit him down, and that's going to make him second guess that pressure there, dog.
That is the massive issue when you pressure someone like Robert Whittaker. He's got that recovery. He's gonna be able to stand there in your face for the entire round and a couple more afterwards if you don't finish him. You've got to be careful as Lawler. Lawler's got the power, but Rob has also got that power, as you mentioned, and so the main difference is can you survive the onslaught of what Lawler's going to throw at you and get the counters off or not, and so far Rob seems to be able to do that. Cyrus.
Yeah, he really does. He's a great pick for it. I mean, he's one of the reasons he's such a favorite pick in the middleweight weight class. He really can do it all. I very, very much respect the Robbie Lawler pick, though. I feel like if he's able to implement some of that beautiful power, he may have some advantages. But right now, a lot of adversity, although that head movement was just silky smooth, Doc. As soon as he got hurt, it's like he hit the Matrix, able to find the next level to moving that head, evading every shot coming his way from King Amazon.
Indeed, he made sure that he didn't get hit, and that's exactly what you do when you're hurt. You just don't want to get any more damage than you have to take, and now we've got Robert Whittaker spinning the elbow, dodge under the head kick, the uppercut in retaliation, narrowly avoids him, and Robert Whittaker's back is now against the cage, and Lawler starts to put on this heavy pressure with a low block.
I'm surprised he was not able to get him out after that beautiful duck. Normally when you get out of the way of a head kick just like that, Doc, it spells like the end to the fight nice and early, but they're still in it. Once again he gets him hurt, but High Roller just finds the next level for the head movement, able to get bobbing and weaving out of the way. That does not dissuade King Amazon, though, who continues to press forward almost with reckless abandon, trying to get that finish at the end of this first round.
And again, slip straight. Both opponents now knocked each other down with slip straight. Lawler's now rocked in. Actually gets a drop. The up kick down narrowly defends him, and that's 30 seconds left on the clock. Both of them pulling back and forth fight again. Whittaker somehow surviving, not getting knocked down in retaliation. This has been a wild fight, Cyrus.
Yeah, it really has, man. This is a phenomenal pace so far. Nice. Oh, I was going to say, good duck and so on. Sorry, bear with me. I'm making sure that these guys were set for the. But no, that is it's been a crazy back and forth fight so far. I don't expect anything less, like I said, from these gentlemen. They've shown time and time again within the promotion that they are fun. Fun fights to call, fun fights to watch all around. As you see, they touch them up for the round two. A lot of mutual respect for the type of fighters that these guys are. It would appear they both know that they bring the action, and they're happy to show that this evening as he opens up this round nice and quickly with that spinning elbow, Doc, just really trying to get that pressure on.
I'd love to see next time Lawler gets hurt is some body work by Whittaker. That may be the idea here, because he's probably weaving that head, but the body's still fairly certain. If you use head movement, you can sometimes get a lovely body stun on the head. With that being, Lawler's just putting on this pressure. He doesn't care. You saw Whittaker with the reckless abandon, but now it's Lawler's coming at him with reckless abandon. And it's working. Gets a drop here, and that's Brandon's still left on top. Both of them still got a lot of time to work. Lawler needs to get his back away from that cage. He's then Major Lundy's back into the cage. Gets knocked down again, and this is so dangerous.
That's it. High Roller gets the finish with Robbie Lawler able to land those big, powerful shots to close out the show. That was a back-and-forth action, Doc, from both guys where they had massive amounts of success, but the LW boys able to dig deep once again to get that victory. Sure, he's going to be happy with his performance here this evening, especially with going with that Robbie Lawler pick. Like I said, that's a big, big move and a big statement, able to get that job done.
Yeah, both of them just playing that massive back and forth fight, both playing in some cases a reckless abandons, other times technique, and it was a very interesting back and forth fight to witness.
Well, great fight, great fight. It takes us on to the co-main event of the evening. We're going to be seeing Magical Cloud now stepping up to fight, you know, an incredibly dangerous opponent in Cryptic Optics, who's been doing fantastic work on the scene all round. Interesting to see how these guys get it going in the PlayStation side of the bracket. Obviously, Magical Cloud known for that big finish that he got in his debut. Like I said, I think it was like 30 something odd seconds. He looks like he's picking Nick Diaz to step up against another Robert Whittaker from Cryptic Optics. Like I said, a favorite pick for an understandable reason. Robert Whittaker has it all, and you know, can be a very, very dangerous man to use, but so can Nick Diaz, especially with some of the chin boosts. I think he got a couple of boosts recently. Am I wrong about that?
I think he got a chin boost and he got a cardio boost, but he got a speed decrease, if I'm not mistaken. Or someone going like it was an interesting buff because he had a couple of takeaways, a couple of additions, so it made him a 4-star, but also reduced some aspects in some areas. Whittaker, on the other hand, we know his stats, we know he's good everywhere, as you suggested. He's kind of the meta pick of the division. That being said, they've got a touch of gloves, and don't count Diaz out, no matter the chance. Diaz has got a chin, he's got the health stats, and he's got some lovely boxing to go with it.
Yeah, and obviously you got Magical Cloud behind the sticks. We know this man has a knack for finding finishes often early on his opponents. Had a couple of misses right there and was sat down after a slip, but looks like Cryptic Optics is staying very composed, looking for single shots, not really trying to load up in combinations, appears to be taking more of a counter roll, appears to be looking for those reads in the early going. He's doing a lot of good work landing these single shots, but if Magical Cloud is able to get that momentum, it can be hard to stop a Nick Diaz who is peppering you in the face with combinations. And you've got to remember, Doc, he's a very, very good fighter off the ground as well.
He really is. We've seen Otatangi got a triangle armbar, if I'm not mistaken, and Cerrone after facing massive adversity over the course of 3 rounds. So don't ever put Cryptic Optics out on the ground, and now he starts looking for those body shots on the ground pound. That's kind of what you want to do, especially in the beginning. Work the stam with him and then start doing head damage as the later rounds continue.
Yeah, it's unlikely you're going to get a finish just from straight ground and pound, especially from the full guard. So advance that position, look to work your opponent's stamina as early as you can, and that will pay dividends as the fight progresses. Excellent work getting the denials off. Of course, you've got to remember that Nick Diaz has the rubber guard option available from him, I believe, should he go for it, and that's an incredible position to hold and can really, really dissuade your opponent from staying too actively in that guard. Right now, though, it's going very well for Magical Cloud up until right there. Nice attempt, not able to hold him in the position. Stack guard is now where he finds himself. Decides to not rain down some shots, Doc. Goes back into the full guard. I think that's an intelligent move to hold the position. You can often find yourself quickly losing the ground position if you decide to start raining down some shots from the stack guard.
Does get his back taken now, though. A minute 20 left on the clock to work, and Diaz hasn't got some up. Hair.
Nice denial from Nick Diaz. Decides to go from the armbar from the back sitting position there. This could be pretty nice. He's got his opponent's stamina low. Of course, we cannot see Magical Clouds at this stage, but you imagine after a double denial that it's going to have a nice advantage. The defense appears to be holding true so far. Doc looks like he's going to escape this one, but as we've seen many, many times in the past, often that first submission is just about making reads on your opponent, trying to get a feel for their defensive, kind of defensive patterns, and then looking to maybe maximize and capitalize on that a little bit later on in the fight.
It really is the case. The first one, the second one, normally the setups, are then the one where you actually finally get the proper denies off, and then you can start setting up properly. That being now the end of the first round, you got Whittaker, had a bit of adversity on that submission, had the rest of it, but Whittaker seems to have edged out around with 12 to 6 significant strikes, and the ground and pound at the top, although he didn't get the control time due to being in full guard.
Yeah, and honestly, I would normally say that's about what I would expect, especially on this game. You know, Nick Diaz players quite often can have a little bit of a difficult first round, but they're able to hang in there. They're able, there's such great durability, such great cardio. They can continue to throw combinations with you, and that can often turn the tides of the fight in your favor. With all of that, though, Cryptic Optics obviously doing an excellent job in round 1 all round, finds himself coming out in basically full stamina in round 2. Obviously, Nick Diaz is going to need to get active of his own and try to land some good work to try and change the tides of this fight. Otherwise, Robert Whittaker is going to be a force to be reckoned with if he's able to maintain this over the course of the full 15 minutes.
Well, again, the pullbacks are looking, so far both of them looking for pullbacks, don't actually seem to get out. Loving Major Lunds out there, throws a head kick, doesn't get it, and Nick Diaz throwing a head kick in return.
Oh!
Falls on the knee somehow and just counters him massively there.
And just about moving the body out of the way, some way, somehow, now raining down the ground and pound, but the defense was very, very tight from Magical Cloud in that position, able to posture down his opponent and trying to find a couple of moments to compose himself. Cryptic Optics does not want to waste any time, instantly back to the feet and working his striking. Once again though, not rushing it, Doc, finding his momentum once again, doesn't want to walk onto some shots like we've seen in previous fights.
That is one of the crucial steps of any fight, just making sure you don't walk onto the shots. You're going to come into that pocket and make sure you've got a way to engage before your opponent can actually start firing back. And both of them having a bit of difficulty trying to figure that out without both of them pulling back and just getting straight in the face by some of it as well.
Yeah, I think both guys having a lot, like I said, what we've seen all the way through the night, just back and forth action. Every single fight seems to have, very, very evenly contested vibe to it. They're both trying to land off big, amounts of damage. It's often about who can make the biggest adjustments, and we're already seeing these guys make excellent reads on each other as they're answering with some nice counters. Just like that, right there, slips off the center line, lands the straight square to the face. Damage is going to be adding up for both gentlemen. We'll have to see whose durability is able to stand the bigger, and who's able to get that, just kind of that cherry on top, Doc, who's able to get that extra shot that does the damage. Big front kick. Cloud is getting a little loose in there, starting to have a lot more success as the fight goes on, but so is Whittaker, brother. The power is just too much. He lands it once again. Gonna be tough to get, Nick out on the ground. The defense just too good for Magical Cloud when it hits the mat.
He's having some massive success on the feet, but again, as you said, just the ground defense from both opponents is being a major difficulty in actually getting a finish back. Often trading shots here. 30 seconds left on the clock. A body kick fires there and finally lands properly. The spray piece doesn't actually get through the block, and the block is being seemingly more effective than the head movement both of these guys are doing tonight.
Yeah, as one thing, like I said, we cannot see Magical Cloud's stamina at this point, but he appears to be maybe the pressure of the fight in terms of stamina, but not the head health. Evidently gets sat down and put out from Robert Whittaker with a beautiful sidestep front kick to the face. The ground and pound sequence was just about what the doctor ordered to close out the show. Cryptic Optics got to be feeling very, very good about that performance. He was fighting incredibly clean this evening there, Doc.
That was an incredible fight there. You just saw the major lunges. He did it a couple of times. Major lunges out of a head kick and just front kicks Paul Diaz in the face. He's not going to be waking up for that anytime soon.
For sure. That was a beautifully timed front kick, beautifully timed sidestep, and then like I said, for the first time this time, able to get through those couple of shots that were needed for the finish. Cryptic Optics doing a great job here this evening. Him and his camp going to be feeling very, very happy about that all round. The LW boys putting on a performance after performance here on Primetime Fight Night 23. That does, however, take us into the main event of the evening, Doc, which is, one that we have been highly anticipating for the entire card. You have two incredibly well-known prospects and up-and-coming fighters within the league. Obviously, Great Miss has been with us for a very, very long time, as being a fan-friendly favorite for as long as he's been competing, has an incredible ground game that not a lot of people get to see, and on top of that has one of the most deadly pressure games that you are ever going to come across on UFC 4. He is, of course, though, taking on Satchmo Life. Satchmo has also been just putting on phenomenal performances, has a deadly ground game. His hands have come a long way also, really putting it all together in recent performances. So I expect nothing but the best in this main event. It will be 5 rounds, Doc. I am not 100% certain, but I expect we're going to see something like Eddie Alvarez, Tony Ferguson, or maybe he'll go like Justin Gaethje. It does appear he's actually going Justin Gaethje, I just saw, sorry. So yeah, he's going Justin Gaethje as opposed to his favorite pick with Eddie Alvarez, but that might be due to the Ferguson pick, right? Ferguson is such a durable, well-rounded fighter that it can be a little bit difficult sometimes with Eddie in this matchup.
Well, the insane part is, if I remember correctly, Eddie has about 96 recovery, which is about comparable to about Ferguson. So, in actual honesty, I think Eddie's a pretty good pick against someone with the cardio and chin of Ferguson. Maybe it's just the matchup that Gaethje has the bit better kicks, the bit better power, the bit better length even that you need instead of Eddie. So, either way though.
Sachemo starting out quickly in the main event, gets him sat down. Once again, though, Great Mist has been in these positions before. Look at that slip off the center line. Answers back with an uppercut. Double rock within the first 30 seconds. Now he's got Satch up against the cage, Doc. This is madness.
We've had 3 knockdowns in less than a minute. This is madness.
I do not expect to see anything less when it comes to Great Mist on YouTube, of all places. And then, of course, Sachemo Life, an excellent dancing partner as they look for big Paul counters. Everything being countered, perfect slips, perfect counters. Both guys doing so much damage, Doc. This is madness.
I've never seen someone's leg die so quickly. I've never seen 2 people get dropped so quickly. This is just insane. We're less than 2 minutes into this fight and both of them are just swing for the hills. Finally, Satch calms us down with a massive takedown. Hopefully he can keep it here for a bit and let the commentators calm down.
I want them back on their feet. This is an intelligent move from Satch, right? Can't say anything else. This is an incredibly intelligent move from Satch. Great Mist is very good on the ground as well, but so much madness coming at you. Like I said, there's method to this madness, but what do you do when you've got a man, a human wrecking ball, just marching you down, throwing shot after shot? I mean, he must have came out, landed that knockdown, and thought, God, this is going great for me. Great Mist bites down on the mouthpiece, Doc, and just, goes full rabid dog on you until he gets that damage back and some. Obviously, he's defending well on the ground right here, but that was a crazy, crazy couple of minutes to start us out. I imagine it's going to stay the same on the ground. They're continuing to go at it, jockeying for position. Yeah, just madness, brother, madness. I'm almost lost for words, no lie.
Hey, Miss finally gets his reversal now. He's the one on top. Gaethje's got that power in the hands, gets the top mantle as well. This can be a very dangerous position for Sachemo to be in. Attempts the leg lock, doesn't get it, and that's always nice to see. Bull-GA and now looking to start raining down some heavy shots. Instead, gets up though. Lovely job there by Satch.
Yeah, they're both so well-rounded on the ground, it's going to be hard to hold them down in one position for too long or get any sort of prolonged damage and ground and pound off on each guy. Like I said, they're just able to defend and reverse so well. But when it hits the feet, other than that opening going, just the way that Great Mist attacks the body, goes with unorthodox shots around and all sorts of angles. It's just incredible for, incredibly tough for Sachemo to get going at this point. Great Mist finding his full momentum. Obviously got his groove on here this evening. Gaethje, obviously a great pick for him. That leg is destroyed.
That leg is going to give Satch so many issues, as you've mentioned, I think, throughout this fight, is that every time it seems someone's leg get kicked up, they've had issues just due to that power. Drummy gets another drop to finish off the round in Great Mist style, to be fair.
Look at that. Look at those statistics. Sachemo comes out, gets him stunned, and knocks him down. And then just 4 knockdowns. I think it was 3 or 4 stuns from the side of Justin Gaethje. That is the way you answer back to early adversity. Yeah, madness.
2 stuns and 2 leg elf events. He didn't even land that many leg kicks before the leg of Ferguson was gone, so that's even counts towards Mist's great ability to time those leg kicks.
Yeah, just like that. Just like that. His opponent going for a teep, but he times a leg kick. It lands at high vulnerability. That's going to make it a lot easier to time these takedown defenses. Although Sachemo staying committed, even though it was defend on the turn, he had the greater stamina advantage, Doc, and continues to drive through. We're now in Satch's world, but not able to secure it. Great Mist wriggling his way back to the feet. Imagine he's going to get very active with the hands as always.
Lovely body kick there again, though. Ferguson trying to put on this comeback. His legs are gone, though, so the power stats of Ferguson, the little power he does have, is going to be very dangerous against someone like Gaethje. Another leg kick lands, getting the health stun event and the knockdown. It may be the count and gets another one.
Brother, this is the second round. We're not even at the midway stage of the second round. And that right leg is mangled from the side of Tony Ferguson. He does the right thing in switching stances, but that's still going to have an impact on some of the damage he can land. That does not seem to affect Tony Ferguson, though. getting massive amounts landed on Great Mist right there, now composing himself, circling out, looking for another opportunity to explode, trying to not, be too overzealous, because he knows how dangerous Great Mist is on that counter and that pressure. As soon as he decides to turn it on, he is on you.
Another leg kick lands, and this has got to be careful.
That's his good leg, brother. That's his good leg.
That's his good leg. It's also gone. Ferguson now has no base to stand on.
The referee's got to be looking closely at this one. Tony Ferguson is going to have to dig deep and look for something soon, because his legs cannot withstand too many more shots. They are hurt. They are blinking right and left leg. Inside, the outside. He gets chewed down, lands. Classic Tony Ferguson, almost Imanari rolls with it, but nevertheless, his legs, his entire base is shot to shit right now, and he is having a really, really tough time, brother. This is almost tough to watch.
Mist knows what he needs to attack. He's just, the only reason he's digging up to the head is just to open up the legs. That being said, though, he does get the knockdown, and this is massive. Mist is in full control of this fight. Gets the knockdown. There we are, nearly gets the knockdown, sorry.
This is classic Great Mist. Absolutely classic Great Mist. He's taken some time off the game, come back from those mountains looking healthy, doing the whole Rocky sort of training camp leading up to this one, stayed away from everything, didn't show too much, and obviously coming out in a massive way here this evening. The biggest moments that T-Ferg is having is when it hits the mat, but it seems to be a little bit too little and then too much in between. Just too much damage seems to be coming his way when it's on the feet, Doc. And obviously Great Mist, being such a great grappler in his own right, is doing just about the right things to hold on and get those reversals when he needs them, in order to mitigate so much of what Satchmo normally does to his opponents on the mat.
A last minute Darcy choke attempt. Maybe he was trying to get Reed on the sub offense, but we're only 2 seconds left. Imagine it's just for the damage mitigation. Mist is the strong opponent in this one. Ferguson's got the cardio, but that's all about it. It seems like he's got the cardio, but everything else is in the favour of Mist.
Yeah, and that's because Great Mist has thrown 10,000 leg kicks at this stage, with the majority of them landing. But honestly, so back and forth in terms of like the boxing that's landing, but the leg kicks just all in the favor of Great Mist. He's so on point with them, and Gaethje an incredibly perfect pick for this sort of game plan. Every kick is going to put him down right now, time after time. Just continues to set it up. Satchmo cannot do anything. When he hits that, he needs to try and switch stances. But even if he does that, the other leg's destroyed, Doc. So he's basically, left without the ability to fire back right now, because as soon as he does, Gaethje can just kick that calf and, really do huge amounts of damage. I'm surprised that the ref has not stepped in here. I'm surprised that leg has not completely buckled at this stage.
Oh, goes down now for the kill, finally looking for it. Gets reversed, though, and has got to be some scary situation for Great Mist here. Armbar attempt is denied. Lovely job there, reading his opponent, knowing that he stands low and he's going to go look for something big, maybe like a sub, especially when you're playing someone like Tony Ferguson with a lot of subs in every position, it feels like. Yeah,
he has a lot of subs available to him for all positions, as you alluded to. It's going to be a little bit tough against a veteran like Great Mist, though. He's going to have to get him gassed a little bit. This is a good sequence of strikes, though. Ferguson has a lot of cardio, as you mentioned, Doc, so if he does get an opportunity to land shots like that, he can do damage nice and quickly. Now he's got him gassed as well. This is a massive moment from Satch.
This is risky. Like, Satch could easily win this if he gets a couple more stack guard attempts.
Oh, Jesus!
He's got another denied. Instead goes for the side control. To how effective? Maybe going for the on belly, maybe go for the top man, and maybe he stands a really good chance at this now. He just managed to bring himself straight back into the fight, especially how early that Mist jumped on him, and then he got the reversal as well. That should be noted. Yeah,
Satch is so dangerous on the mat. He's doing everything right. Oh, Jesus, that was a weird advert popped up for a second, and it disappeared. Thank God, we get straight back into the fight. I've never seen that before. I thought we were having a 20-second advert, but this submission is looking pretty good, although the defense seems to be doing just about enough to get the escape from Justin Gaethje. Great Mist is now inside control. He's obviously going to be looking for his separation, you would imagine. No, Satchmo is going to be all over it. He's going to be very aware that Justin Gaethje does not want to stay on the mat for too long with the submissions that were coming his way. Or maybe I was wrong. Maybe he's deciding to say, okay, my turn, top mount, ground and pound seems to be coming.
Lovely defense there, though, by Satch, though he does get clipped at the very end. Mist, gets up with 12 seconds left or so on the clock. Lets Satchmo get up and probably going to look for another leg kick just to secure the round.
Understandably so. Like, he could just blow a gentle breeze at his ankles right now and they would buckle. I'm amazed that, Satchmo Life is still in the fight after as many leg kicks as he has absorbed, but even though he's as injured as he is, once it hit the mat, we saw how dangerous he was. We saw how deadly he was with the ground and pound, and he still has a lot of stamina to work with. So that's where he needs to get this fight, brother.
Enter into the fourth round.
Yeah, fourth and
somehow,
fifth.
the legs at Old Ferguson have been fucked since about the second or so. Not even that, probably the first, to be fair. And now Satch has realised that the game plan is taking it down. This is where he wants to keep it.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think he knew that pretty early. Great Miss is just very, very hard to get here, very hard to hold down here when he gets to the mat. As we see right there, just did a nice little reversal after building some GA. Now he's separated, and that was a lot of work to get him to the mat, so he's gonna have to go straight back to it, looking to enter the pocket with things like Superman punches, taking his base away from that center of the mat, but the shots just continue to add up, Doc.
He narrowly avoids that lovely defense there by Satch. After getting knocked down, he has got to pull something seriously out of him to do it, and maybe it's a twister attempt.
Yeah, once again, he showed he had nice submission offense in the last one. This time round, though, Great Mist has a lot of stamina. He's in a much better position. He's so, calm in these positions as well. He's not just allowing his opponent easy reads on the ground or, easy kind of tracking, I should say. And, once again, takes his time and works his way back to his feet. Continues to go to that leg kick. It's going to be setting up the head kick if he's able to take too many of them. But I'm just amazed that his leg is not buckled, brother. I mean, how many does it take? How low does his leg health need to be?
Oh, head kick finally lands. 2 minutes left on the clock, and he finally gets to finish.
Beautiful, beautiful work by Great Mist. Once again, this was an incredibly quick fight to start out. Satchmo Life runs out of the cage straight to the center, meets Great Mist with about a 4-5 punch flurry, able to get him rocked and sat down. Great Mist needed that wake-up call by the looks of things as he turned up the action, and from that moment on, the leg kicks were just incredible, non-stop, continuing to pepper that lead leg no matter which one was forward, and as a result he's able to get the job done. It all sets up that head kick down the down the line. We knew it was coming. It was just a case of when, and when it did happen, I mean, that was all she wrote.
Knockdowns in the favour of Mist. Poor Mist, 30-24 as we go into that last round. Mist putting on a dominant performance, although it definitely didn't seem it after the third round or so when Satch realised the grappling was the legit contender, and it definitely looked like he may have been the victor at some point during that fight.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, it has been an incredible night of fights all around. We appreciate each and every one of you coming through, all the follows, the subs, and the general love in the community is always appreciated. We will be back with you now, I believe, on Sunday with the Primetime ESFL Network. I think it's the next card that we have scheduled up. That will be the 31st of this one. Make sure to tune into that one. Going to have a lot of up-and-coming killers, as always, trying to showcase their skills and get the competition role, as many of you has in the past. For now, though, we are going to push the love forward into the community. We're going to be obviously giving forward a little bit of a raid to one of the gentlemen, so make sure to join up the raid. Make sure to show some love when you get in there. Until the next one, though, stay safe, peace out, and much love.